Hello, I'm honored to be here. Thank you all. So, this is entitled Designing the Future as If Your Time Mattered. In the interest of time, I'm going to talk fast, since most people can absorb material faster than it normally is presented, and I'll cover more ground in the time allotted. So I'll rely on the Doppler effect, which is the tendency of stupid ideas to sound smarter when they come at you rapidly. So my inspiration for this was about 2.5 years ago when I did that TED Talk. I analyzed microeconomics of an intersection, and I was amazed that the cost of 2 stop signs without any queuing building up was about $2 million, including gas and time that's wasted for people. So then I began to calculate the enormous cost to society of many different types of delays, both traffic and otherwise. And the time that things take are a given, but they don't have to be taken. They shouldn't be accepted as is. So if mortals created it, mortals can change it. And that's an important mantra. We are all habituated to that's the way it is, but it usually doesn't have to be. Solutions usually have already been proven elsewhere, and it's just a matter of our finding those solutions and implementing them. The problem is usually that decision makers don't feel your pain, so political representation often doesn't match the affected parties. An example that's close to home for me is a nearby intersection in my town. There was a 4-way intersection with 4 stop signs where a 5-minute queue forms twice a day, which is 115 person-hours per day wasted, 14 worthy person-years per year wasted. And since time is money, it's similar to the interchangeability of energy and mass as described by Einstein's equation, E = mc squared. So the equation is $20 per hour, which is the average wage in the United States. And that multiplies out for that intersection to be $600,000 of people time wasted, which if you take that annuity and divide it by a discount rate, that's $12 million of value lost from just from that one little intersection. And that's not counting the gasoline cost. And that's just one little intersection in a little city. So I brought the roundabout idea to our town, and it's being evaluated. But one objection that one of the council members raised was the people delayed are mostly not residents of our town. Now, so when I'm delayed in other towns, that's okay. So my conclusion is that decision-making should be brought up a level to the county or state. Anyway, so let's take the scale of this problem up a notch to a slightly bigger town, Aspen, Colorado, where they have been debating how to reconfigure the entrance to Aspen for over 30 years. Honestly, they have. And the average delay of about 15 minutes each way for cars coming, entering, and leaving town is delays about 10,000 cars, which is $41 million a year of people's time. Analyzed the same way, that's $800 million. That's or $0.8 billion of economic value. Just from that little town. There's a lot you could buy for that. So that's not counting the gas costs or the pollution, et cetera. So again, the city council doesn't represent most of the affected parties because they are from out of town, come into town to work. So it's like a tax, only it's worse, because with taxes, they go to pay for something useful. Here, it's just value destruction. So time is also not only money. So if you take this example, the 2 million person-hours per year wasted, and you divide that by 16 waking hours per day per person, assuming we live for the waking time and that we don't live for the sleeping time, and divide that by the number of days per year, that's 356 person-years wasted for every year, and the average life expectancy of a person in America is 78.2, so that's 4.6 lives wasted per year. And now, if 4 people died each year because the city council's indecision, they would have come out with a different outcome, or maybe a different city council. Now this is not really that new of a concept. Someone you've heard of said, "Dost thou love life? Then do not squander time, for that is the stuff life is made of." That was said by Benjamin Franklin. And Steve Jobs used similar reasoning. His biography has a wonderful example of this idea, where Steve is discussing the Mac boot up time with Larry Kenyon, an engineer who says he can't improve it. Steve then asks, if it could save a person's life, would you find a way to shave 10 seconds off the boot time? Larry said he probably could. So Steve then multiplied 10 seconds times 5 million users times 365 days a year and added up to 100 lifetimes per year. And Larry proceeded to knock 28 seconds off of it. So, anyway, so the quotation du jour, actually yesterday, is make enough molehills and eventually you'll build a mountain. So that's by Seth Godin. So here's a positive example of enlightened government. This is from the East Bay from 2007, where a gasoline tanker crashed and burned underneath an overpass, melting the metal and causing it to collapse, inconveniencing hundreds of thousands of people per day. So the governor declared a state of emergency, which cut through the normal regulations, and they were able to solicit bids that day, and then the next day they awarded the bidder the winning bid. They also had a very innovative program where for every day early that the winning bidder completed it, they would be paid $200,000 bonus for getting it done a day early. So the winning bid, which was awarded the very next day, bid $867,000, but actually they received $5 million, which was the maximum amount because they got it done in 17 days, which is unheard of. It's possible, but it's just rare that you just almost never hear of that. But it doesn't have to be so rare. It was blindingly obvious that the cost to society of the closure was huge. And similar analysis can be applied to the zillions of non-obvious examples. As long as the responsible parties take responsibility and lead, just as Caltrains did, it is possible. You can't manage what's not measured, and so the people involved in this that make these decisions and affect everyone's lives need to have this metrics in their job description. How does the private sector compare? That was all public sector examples. So here's a tale of two shitties in the same city. It was the best of lines. It was the worst of lines. The end of the taxi line at the Las Vegas Hilton. I've zoomed in on it. Note the size of the people in the picture. This is from Consumer Electronics Show in 2003. This is a wider angle view of the same. The line stretches from all the way on the left to all the way on the right. There were people waiting for taxis, and there were taxis waiting for people in the same location. And that's because they were loading one at a time. Why? You see what he's about to give that doorman? It's for the tips. Everyone is watching that person, and therefore that person feels compelled to do what the person before did, which was to give a tip. And this is Ray. He's the doorman. It's rumored that his pockets of his pants were custom tailored to be deeper, and talk about deep pockets, and that he paid the hotel for his job. He has since retired, I imagine rather comfortably, and this is Ray doing his victory dance after every tip. He was quite a character. So what's wrong with this picture? The doorman profits at a rate of about $200 per hour, and 100 people are kept waiting for an hour, and so if their time is worth $20 an hour, that's $2,000 an hour of lost time. So compare that to the Las Vegas airport, which I believe is the world's best taxi line. So this is an aerial view of that airport taxi line when it's empty without a lot of people waiting. This is with people waiting. They have about 20 parallel loading slots. So despite the massive lines, they actually move huge numbers of people. And so the wait is really not too long, and few people tip. So the lessons in these two extremes. The private sector does not always do a better job. And the profit motive is usually a good thing, but not always. Those taxi lines resemble the Hilton example and not the Las Vegas airport, even at most airports. Whether this is due to greed or non-management, I don't know. But every line can be like the Las Vegas airport if the managers involved decide it should be. So you should all exert your influence at the right levels to affect such changes. And this is a quote from Marion Wright Edelman. If you don't like the way the world is, you change it. You have an obligation to change it. You just do it one step at a time. Let's talk about indirect time wastage. So many things government do or fail to do waste your time and your life. There's inane regulations and paperwork, especially in healthcare and medicine. We all know justice delayed is justice denied. There are FDA approvals, which can take forever. The patent office takes more than 3 years to grant the average patent. This is from 1990 to 2010. The average waiting time for a patent application went from 1.5 years to 3 years over that 20-year period. But this is the distribution, so it's maybe the average is 3 years, but in fact, the graph on the right shows it going out as far as 15 years. So this is one of the reasons that there are so many trolls, because the patents often arrive too late for the company to make it useful, so it gets sold off to trolls. So to turn the crank, I'm not suggesting we are entitled to become cranky and impatient. That's not the object. I'm really suggesting that we become more mindful and conscious of the trade-offs so that more of the right ones get made. America is up in arms about our taxes in the form of money, but taxes on your time are larger than most people realize and easier to reduce than monetary taxes. So my time's up. Remember, time is a great teacher, but unfortunately it kills all its pupils. Thank you for your time.